Googie Things? Oh, I can hear the argument now. There are no Googie Things. Googie is architecture. Yeah? Well, sure, okay, Googie is architecture. But it's also signs. Even those argumentative types will agree to that. My contention is that Googie is kind of an attitude more than anything else. An approach to architecture, signs, and, yes, things that is exuberant, forward-looking, fun, and, for the lack of a better word, classy. Oh, let's try and find a better word. How about stylish? Sophisticated? Elegant? Well, these last two are accurate, but they imply to some people a superiority that is kind of class-based. And here we are, back to classy. Pocket transistor radios are rarely called classy. But these examples are those other things, exuberant, forward-looking, and fun. I guess this class thing is the most elusive of the qualities of good Googie, and I suppose it's why the mere existence of good Googie is questioned by its critics. Maybe taste is the word I'm looking for. Taste, however, is so subjective, it's foolish to even bring it up. But then it's probably not the only foolish thing I'll do today. I see this taste, or whatever it is, in balance with the fun aspect of Googie, its humorous aspect. There has got to be both. They are counterweights. Something all the way to the fun side would be just silly. Something all the way to the taste side would be so safe it would be lifeless and boring. Critics have said that those of us who like Googie have no taste, but I submit that maybe it's the other way around. Those who don't like Googie maybe have no sense of humor. I've featured all these little radios in other videos, so if you like what you see here, you can find out more about each of them in those videos. The Jetsons, it has been noted, are Googie. That's no accident. The Hanna-Barbera studio, where the Jetsons were created and produced, was so close to Googie landmark restaurants like this Bob's Big Boy and the original Googies that going to lunch at one of these places every day for the folks at Hanna-Barbera was not just possible, but likely. The Philco Predicta television set from the 1950s was a Googie thing. My parents would never have had such a cool thing in our house. My mother's taste ran to early American. My father's to fishing. The Panasonic Orbitel from 1971 is nicknamed the Flying Saucer. It was made in what I call the Panapet Era, when Panasonic introduced this Panapet radio and a whole line of consumer electronics products intended to liven up available choices in an industry that had by the late 60s grown stale. One of my favorite table radios is this one from Kobe Kogyo in Japan. Home decor in the Googie style was, I suppose, just abstract art to most people. This stunning Googie wall decor thing is nearly 5 feet wide. I saw it about 30 years ago in an antique show and bought it immediately. Normally, I'm pretty indecisive, but I wasn't when I saw this. From the early 1950s comes this General Electric Telecron clock. I think of this as a kitchen clock, whereas this gorgeous clock from Howard Miller is a living room clock. But that's just how I see it. At least one advertisement shows this great clock as a kitchen clock. This spike version of this clock and the ball version are that kind of Googie that are the epitome of good taste, where these knockoffs of the original spike clock are not. See what I mean about that sophistication? About that elegance? You notice it most when it's missing. It sure helps to have a visual aid. Tilting that fun versus taste scale a bit more in the direction of fun are these table clocks. While fun, they avoid the gaudiness of those knockoff wall clocks. This, as you will eventually see, is a candle holder, a sconce. Grandma's house never had one like this. She might have had a shadow box, which is what these are called. They're useful for displaying little things you collect, that in turn collect dust. I'm all for turning swords into plowshares. What if B-52s became ice buckets? Well, they'd look like this, wouldn't they? The dinner table was no place for fun when I was a kid. No dinner table I was ever told to keep my elbows off of had plates as cool as these. Boredom and broccoli prevailed back then, neither of which plagues me anymore. Now, above that dining room table, you might have something like this teardrop light fixture. This is the original fixture to this house, built in 1962. And then there was fiberglass, often in pastel colors, or adorned with a space-age or atomic design. This terrific living room sofa set I found years ago in a mid-century antique store, appropriately named Futurama. Most of us, I suppose, start our days by heading into the kitchen. This is the wallpaper in my kitchen that cheers me every morning. You saw this wallpaper a moment ago behind that General Electric clock. Now, patterns like this wallpaper are a great way to enjoy Googie design in 2 dimensions, that is to say, without the bulk of a 3-dimensional object or building. Patterns like these are found in curtains, drapes, even lampshades. This one comes from a kind of jacket made for wearing at poolside. And this one I found as a decoration up under the lid of an RCA record player. One of the easiest and best ways to enjoy Googie in 2 dimensions, without the bulk, is with art by Shag. Here are 3 vintage shirts I was pleased to find in flea markets. You could probably see George Jetson in one of these. And Jane? Well, Jane's wearing this. Or maybe this is more of a June Cleaver dress. I don't know. What am I, Christian Dior? I do know this, though. A gentleman always carries a handkerchief. Look at the style and care taken in designing and making these things. A man who carries a handkerchief is a man who deserves a Hamilton watch, don't you think? Like this one, the Hamilton Vega model. And here's the Hamilton Altair. Hamilton offered a whole range of these great Googie-style watches in the mid-century era, progressive in styling and in their technology. They were some of the first electric watches. Another electric thing, the electric shaver, had been around a while when it got a nice Googie update in the mid-20th century. Googie Man shaves in style with one of these Ronson men's shavers. And there were Lady Ronsons, too, to meet the requirements of the fairer sex. This Detecto home scale lets you check how much damage that second piece of cheesecake did to you last night. Oh, well, a bit more exercise today ought to take care of that. Best to stay away from this thing for a while, the refrigerator. Yes, even some home appliances had great Googie details. On the outside, and most especially inside. Look at this beautiful underpainted panel labeling your snack rack. And the shelves inside the door were similarly labeled. 2 shelves for eggs and 2 shelves for bottles. That's a lot of eggs. You're looking at details of cars I filmed at car shows many years ago, playing with my new camcorder and its zoom feature, which I found irresistible, obviously. Many 50s and early 60s American cars were Googie On Wheels, as you can see. The shapes, the angles, the curves, and all the variety of decor delights the eye of the Googie aficionado. Cars from this era are a rich trove of inspired design with all those necessary Googie qualities of exuberance, futuristic freshness, fun, and good taste. Well, again, the taste part can be argued, but why bother? If the critic can't see the humor in all this, they're never going to get it, so why waste the argument? Car shows like this are where I got the idea of collecting nameplates, logos, insignia, and all those other identifying badges on cars. Much design work went into them, and it showed. Wisely, I discerned that car collectors would probably object to me prying attractive nameplates off their cars, so I began visiting auto junkyards for this purpose. So naturally, most of my nameplates are car-related, but I have been lucky enough to find a few in general flea markets that came off of other kinds of objects and machinery, like vending machines and appliances. The television lettering came off an old RCA television camera and looks great on the wall just under my TV. I pulled this Pontiac lettering off the grill of a 1959 model in a junkyard to answer my father's perennial question, "What are you going to do with all this stuff?" I made this little plaque sort of thing out of it. Now, of course, what am I going to do with this? I found this pretty underpainted emblem in a flea market. It probably came from a refrigerator. I always thought Cold Spot and Hot Point appliances were made by the same people. Cold Spot for the refrigerators, air conditioners, and other cold things, and Hot Point for the stoves and irons and such. Makes sense, right? But no. Well, half right. Cold Spot was a Sears brand and was used on those cold things. Hot Point in this era was a brand of General Electric, who put it on hot things, of course, but also on refrigerators. Now, I'll leave you with the coolest-looking microphone of all time. Well, that's quite a boast, isn't it? Okay, you tell me whether this microphone delivers on that boast. Googie Things. I never know when or where I'm going to find them. But I do know this. Every time I come across a Googie thing, it brightens my day.